America, we got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Hey, January 2nd, 2025, a terrorist attack in the city of New Orleans, 15 dead. Death toll up to 15, 30 to 40 injured. A horrific act of terrorism yesterday, last night and a half ago, in the city of New Orleans. And when this happens in America, whenever this happens in America, you know the drill, right? When there's a mass shooting, when there's an act of terror, when somebody gets behind the wheel of a pickup truck and rams into a parade, mowing down and killing innocent people, whenever something like this happens, the most difficult thing to do is to wait for the facts and the truth to come out. The second most difficult thing to do is to stake out a reasonable position. The easiest thing to do when an act of terror hits, when there's a mass shooting, whenever somebody kills 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people or more in America, the easiest thing to do is to run to your partisan corner, get down on your knees, and hope and pray it was somebody from the other side who did it. So the right goes over there, and the right just hopes and prays that it's an illegal or it's a Muslim terrorist. And the left, they go over there into their corner, into their partisan corner, and they hope and pray that it's like some white supremacist, some big bad Trump supporter who did this evil thing. The vast majority of us do that. Whenever something bad like what happened in New Orleans happens, we go to our partisan corners, and be honest with me. Be honest. Life is too short not to be honest. Be honest. When what happened in New Orleans, when you woke up yesterday, New Year's Day, and you heard about New Orleans, be honest. You put your partisan hat on, and you hoped that the suspect, the terrorist, the killer would reinforce your own political beliefs. MAGA, you hoped it was a Trump hater. And lefties, you hoped it was a Trump supporter. If it's a terrorist, right? We all have our notions of who we want it to be based on our partisan narratives. It's what we all do. It's what I used to do all the time when I was a right-wing radio talk show host, man, and there was a shooting, there was an act of terror. Right away, I hoped and prayed, man, I hope it's a radical Islamist. I'm someone who has always raised the alarms about radical Islamism. So whenever something bad would happen as a right-wing guy, I was always hoping it was an Islamist terrorist. It's what we do. It's the easiest thing to do. Something horrific happens. There's an evil person. We want that evil person to fit our narrative so that we can fire at the other side politically. You know I'm right. Be honest. It's what most of us do. It's what I used to do all the time. The toughest thing to do is to just wait, is to say, I'm not going to jump. I'm not going to pounce until we know what happened. I'm going to wait for the facts and the evidence to come out. And look, it came out pretty quickly. New Orleans came out really quickly. This was an American citizen who sounds like he was clearly radicalized by Islamism, by ISIS. And we will find out more. But this is an American who, in the last year or two, became an ISIS guy, became radicalized by ISIS's philosophy. Whether ISIS had anything to do with this, whether this was an attack that was ISIS inspired or ISIS directed, we'll find out. And again, before I get to the main points I want to get to today, January 2nd, Happy New Year, everyone. Let's just be clear. This is still a threat. Radical Islamism in this country remains a threat. Yesterday in New Orleans was just a reminder of that. This guy with this pickup truck who mowed people down on Bourbon Street in New Orleans French Quarter, he had an ISIS flag in the back of his pickup. This remains a threat. I went to Congress 12 years ago, and when I went to Congress 12 years ago, the greatest domestic threat then was Americans, primarily young American men, primarily young American Muslim American men, becoming radicalized by Islamism, by Al Qaeda, by ISIS, and then committing an act of terror here in America. 12 years ago, when I served on the Homeland Security Committee, that was the greatest domestic threat in America. What happened yesterday is a reminder that it's still a threat. That radical Islamism, that Islamist terrorism remains a threat here in America. It's real. Republican, Democrat, all of us have to acknowledge it and deal with it. It's something Europe's been living with for a long, long time. It's something America has always had to live with. It's something Israel is fighting every single day. Islamism. You will notice I'm very careful. I don't say Islam. I say Islamism. And if you don't know the difference, Google the difference. But this guy in New Orleans yesterday was radicalized by radical Islamism. He was radicalized by ISIS. And because of that, 15 of our fellow citizens are dead and 30 to 40 are injured. Pray for their souls. Pray for their families. And our officials will get to the bottom of it. Here's one of the points I want to make, though, this Thursday. Feels like a Monday. This Thursday. Isn't that something, though, right? Christmas, New Year's week, the week or two. Every day feels like a Saturday or Sunday. You lose track of time. You lose track of what day it is. Couple points I want to make today. So this thing happens. 3 o'clock in the morning. We all wake up to it. And immediately we all wake up to it. And immediately, damn near all of us get partisan. And lo and behold, right, like clockwork, not at all surprising, the right, everybody in my former world of the right, when they heard about what happened in New Orleans, right away they screamed illegals. Before they knew anything, right away they screamed Joe Biden's open border. Before they knew anything, right away they screamed migrants, illegals, the border. See, right away before they knew anything. It was from the right, in unison, illegals, 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 migrants, 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 open border, open border, open border, open border. This is Biden's problem, right? Biden opened the border. Look what happened. Look what happened. 15 people are dead in New Orleans because of Joe Biden's open border. I mean, my God, this was led by Trump. The president-elect, look what he posted immediately. When I said the criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country, Trump said. That was called fake news, the crime rate in our country because of all these criminals coming in across the border. Right away, before Trump knew anything, he blamed New Orleans on migrants and people coming into the country illegally. Now, by the way, that's the president-elect. By the way, that's the guy who's going to be sworn into office in about 3 weeks. This is a problem, right? The guy who will be president doesn't even wait until we've got the information, doesn't even wait until we know the facts or the truth. I mean, that's a problem. And that shows again, that's a reminder again, how utterly unfit Donald Trump is. I don't care where you are on Trump, man, you're going to be president. Keep your mouth shut until we know what happened. But that's not Trump. This is a reminder of how unfit Donald Trump is to be commander in chief. That's Donald Trump doing what Donald Trump always does. That's Donald Trump lying. I mean, there's a mass killing in New Orleans. Donald Trump, who's going to be president, doesn't wait for the facts to come out. He blames illegals. He blames people coming into this country illegally for what happened in New Orleans. That's who Trump is. That's Trump doing Trump. All Trump does is lie, and all Trump does is stoke fear. And that's what he did there. But Trump wasn't alone. Don Jr., Trump's son, right away posted Biden's parting gift to America, migrant terrorists. Don Jr., Biden's parting gift to America, migrant terrorists. Donnie Jr., right away, finds out about New Orleans. And Donnie Jr. right away blames migrants, blames Biden and open borders for what happened in New Orleans without knowing anything. Now, every American, left, right, should have a problem with that. Like, time out. Let's wait until we know just a little bit. Time out. But they weren't alone. That's Trump. He's the leader. He's the dishonest leader. That's Donnie Jr. He's just like his dad. But damn near everybody on the right immediately. Illegals, illegals, illegals. My God. When people on the right, and I can say this because I come from the right, when people on the right wake up with a bad hangover, do they blame illegals? When people on the right lose a job, do they blame illegals? When people on the right gain 5 or 6 pounds, do they blame illegals? Couple things. Again, I'm in a unique spot. Because I used to do this. I used to be Trump and I used to be Donnie Jr. When I was in Congress and when I was on the radio and what happened in New Orleans happened, right away I would pounce, hoping and praying it was an illegal or a Muslim terrorist. But right away I'd get out there before I knew the facts too many times. And I'd scream like the old Joe Walsh. The old Joe Walsh yesterday would have responded, hell yeah, Biden. Migrants, Biden, illegals, the old Joe Walsh would have responded like that. I don't do that anymore because I found out that doing that only makes us all that much more divided, only expands the divide in this country. And it's wrong. It's disinformation. It spreads fear. Trump posted what he posted yesterday. Donnie Jr. did. Every thought leader on the right did yesterday. So today, we've got millions and millions and millions and millions of people on the right in America who believe this stuff. There's only one big problem. There's only one big problem with what Trump and Donnie Jr. and everybody on the right screaming illegals yesterday. There's only one big problem with them screaming all of that. None of it's true. The terrorist, listen to me, read my lips, MAGA. Just so we're all on the same page, you can run in whatever direction you want to run in, but have the facts and know the truth. The New Orleans terrorist was an American citizen. He was born and raised here. I'm going to speak slowly. He's a U.S. citizen. He's dead now, thank God. He was born and raised in Texas. He wasn't a migrant. He wasn't an illegal. He didn't just hop across the border to do a bad thing. This was an American citizen, 42 years old, born and raised in Houston, Texas. Lived here his whole life. In fact, he was a U.S. Army vet. He's a veteran. Served in our army. As of now, we don't know if he acted alone, but the terrorist was a United States citizen, a U.S. veteran, an Army veteran. So scream migrants and scream illegals all you want and go after Biden for an open border if you want, but it's got nothing to do with this. Be honest enough. Make it your vow in 2025, right? To at least be honest enough to accept the basic truths. Again, everybody should have a problem. Every Trump supporter should have a problem with Donald Trump lying to them all the time. But if you're going to ignore that, just you on your own, before you pounce, wait for the facts. This guy wasn't an illegal. It had nothing to do. The terrorist attack in New Orleans yesterday had absolutely nothing to do with migrants in this country. Please accept that. Yeah, we all want to go after people who are in this country illegally, right? Again, yes, but that's a separate issue. Right now, we should be focused on, and by the way, maybe right now we should be focused on American military terrorists. The guy, the act of terror in Las Vegas yesterday, the Tesla super truck, whatever it's called, that blew up in front of the Trump Tower in Las Vegas. The guy behind that was a 37-year-old white American citizen, Army veteran. My God, served at or was stationed at the same camp that the New Orleans terrorist was based at for a period. The FBI is looking into whether there's any connection. But here you have in one day, early on New Year's Day, 2025, 2 American veterans committing acts of terror. Should we, instead of screaming illegals, all my MAGA friends, instead of screaming migrants, heck, maybe instead of screaming ISIS, should we be screaming, oh my God, American military terrorists? We've got a bunch of American veterans out there who are terrorists. How about we pounce on that? Do you want to make that overgeneralization? That's what we do when a transgender American commits a mass shooting. Everybody on the right wants to say, oh my God, transgenders are mass shooters. Should we do the same thing here? Oh my God, American veterans are terrorists based on what happened yesterday? No, we don't want to do that. No, we shouldn't generalize like that until we know all the facts. All we know right now is these were two United States veterans who committed 2 acts of terror yesterday. The FBI is investigating. We'll get to the ultimate truth. But no, on this one, this second day into 2025, all of us left and right stop. Something bad happens at the next mass shooting, at the next act of terror in America, and there will be one. Stop. Don't pounce. Don't run to your partisan corner. Just wait. It's been hard for me to do. Wait until we know what happened. We all have our knee-jerk reactions. And I guess what I'm saying, one of the biggest knee-jerk reactions on the right today is illegals. Blame everything on illegals. All of the crime in America, blame on immigrants, migrants, even though the fact is the crime rate in America for migrants and new immigrants, even immigrants who come here illegally, the crime rate for those folks is much lower than the crime rate for Americans. But on the right, it helped get Trump elected. These migrants, they're eating cats and dogs. These migrants, these immigrants, these illegals, they're committing crimes everywhere. Trump actually said during the campaign that these Haitian migrants are slitting people's throats in kitchens across America. So yesterday happens, and Trump and his sycophants, his cheerleaders, do the same damn thing. Illegals. Crime, baby, crime. It's all about crime, immigrants, migrants, illegals. It's a lie. It's a lie. And yesterday had nothing to do with migrant crime, immigrant crime, or crime from people in this country illegally. The second thing that concerns me about what happened yesterday is, like, damn Trump. Donald Trump has convinced almost half the country to not believe election results. Donald Trump has convinced almost half the country that when they lose an election, the election was stolen and rigged. Trump has done a great job evaporating trust in our election system. We've talked about how dangerous that is. If the people don't believe, don't trust the elections process, a democracy dies. If a people does not believe election results are legitimate, a democracy, a representative democracy dies. Trump, because of what he did in 2020, has gone a long way toward doing that. Trump's doing the same thing, and he's been doing the same thing for a long, long time with a number of our other institutions. Right now, most of Trump's supporters believe our FBI are the bad guys. Yeah. Right now, most of Donald Trump's supporters believe the FBI, everybody in the FBI is like a deep state. They are the enemy. Most of Donald Trump's supporters do not trust the FBI, do not trust the Justice Department. Most of Trump's supporters do not trust our intelligence agencies because Donald Trump has lied and convinced his supporters that they are the bad guy. How sick. How despicable. How un-American. How traitorous that Donald Trump would do this. That the guy who's going to be sworn in 2 to 3 weeks has convinced his supporters that Americans are the bad guy. The 57,000 some men and women who work at the FBI every single day to help keep us safe, like they're the enemy. Damn Trump for doing this. And damn all of you for believing Trump's lies. We saw this yesterday. Did you see, first of all, did you see that news conference? The deputy FBI agent in charge of the investigation down in New Orleans was there with a bunch of other law enforcement folk and a bunch of other elected officials. Jeff Landry, the governor of Louisiana, a guy I served with in Congress, was there. And John Kennedy, Louisiana Senator John Kennedy was there. And my God, he was pushing the FBI people, everybody away. All John Kennedy wanted to do was get in front of a microphone and say, basically, the FBI can't be trusted. The FBI is not going to be on the up and up on this. We got to stay after the FBI because they're not going to tell us the truth. That's pretty much what a United States senator said yesterday. Just feeding this narrative that the FBI, the men and women of the FBI who are in charge of investigating what happened in New Orleans yesterday, John Kennedy yesterday said they can't be trusted. They're the bad guy. That's what he said. Kennedy said, I'm going to do whatever I can do to make sure that they tell us the truth. Like telling his audience that the FBI is naturally not going to tell us the truth. What a horrible, despicable thing to say. But Kennedy says it because Kennedy knows that most Republican voters, most Trump supporters, do not believe the FBI can be trusted. Marsha Blackburn, another United States senator from Tennessee, again, a woman I served with, she's batshit loony. She posted a tweet yesterday. Marsha Blackburn did that said the FBI has failed. She posted a couple like this. The FBI has failed in its core mission. Marsha Blackburn pretty much said what happened yesterday happened because the FBI was too focused on going after Trump and they're too focused on DEI. All bullshit. Elon Musk, one of the most dishonest people on the planet, said the same thing yesterday to his gazillion followers. Elon retweeted a tweet that said the FBI was too focused on going after Trump and all their DEI political correctness to do their job. Elon Musk, with the biggest platform in the world yesterday, blamed the FBI for that terrorist attack. Marsha Blackburn, Republican elected officials. This is ugly stuff. This is dangerous stuff. Yes, this is un-American stuff. The men and women who work for the FBI are not the enemy. The guy who did what he did in New Orleans yesterday, he was the enemy. The guy who blew himself up in that Tesla super truck in Vegas yesterday, he's the enemy. Any Muslim American in this country who's radicalized by ISIS and then commits an act of terror against Americans, they are the enemy. Not the FBI, not the men and women who investigate the bad things. Anybody who picks up a firearm and kills people in the act of, in the name of whatever cause, they are the enemy. Not law enforcement that investigates that mass shooting. Terrorists across the board, they are the enemy. Not the men and women in our Defense Department, not the men and women in our intelligence agencies, not the men and women who work in our CIA, not the men and women who work in our FBI, who investigate and help keep Americans safe. See, that's the damnedest thing. That's the most despicable, tragic thing about what Trump's done when Trump has convinced his supporters that the FBI is the enemy, the Justice Department's the enemy, our intelligence communities are the enemy. These are the men and women who help keep us safe. The men and women at the FBI and the Justice Department and the CIA, they are devoted public servants who work tirelessly every day to help keep you and I safe. And Donald Trump has convinced his supporters that they're the enemy. Fuck you, Donald Trump. What a horrible thing to say. And please, Trump supporters, wake up. Unlike Louisiana Senator John Kennedy, I trust our FBI to investigate New Orleans and get to the truth. And by the way, again, just for the record, guys, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a man of the left. I am a libertarian leaning free market guy who has a natural skepticism of government, of big government. So I am always right on the guard. We always need to stay vigilant against anyone in government, in whatever sphere of government, who would abuse our rights. I mean, that's why I'm involved politically, because that's my greatest fear. Are there men and women at the FBI who are bad? Yes. Are there men and women in the CIA who are bad? Yes. Are there military personnel who are bad? Yes. Are there veterans of this country who are bad? Yes. But you know what? That doesn't mean the FBI is bad. And the vast majority of the men and women who work at the FBI are good, loyal public servants. And by the way, there are architects in America who are bad and evil. There are lawyers in America who are bad and evil. There are electricians in America who are bad and evil. You're going to find bad, sick, evil people in every walk of life. It doesn't mean there's a deep state. That's enough. You get my point. How about we all let the FBI do its job and investigate? And how about we all wait until we know the whole story before we pounce? And how about we all think about the victims, the 15 people in New Orleans who lost their lives yesterday? How about this January 2nd, we spend our time doing that? CNN, Fox News, a number of outlets have put out little snippets about who these victims are. The 15 people who died on Bourbon Street, who were killed on Bourbon Street. Go somewhere, Google them, read about the lives that were lost. A lot of them were young people. Spend your time doing that. Don't spend your time when something bad happens trying to score political points. I used to do a lot of that. I don't do that anymore. Hey, this is former Congressman Joe Walsh. This is my podcast, The Social Contract with Joe Walsh. Thank you for listening. Tell everybody you know about it. My email right now, if you want to shoot me an email, is joewalshwhiteflag@gmail.com. That's all one word. Joe Walsh White Flag, all one word, at gmail.com. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Social Contract with Joe Walsh. Doesn't cost you anything. Subscribe to that YouTube channel. Follow me on every social media platform. Make it a good day, everybody. Have a good Thursday. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract with